The printing press did not make everyone a scholar. The internet did not make everyone a publisher. But AI? AI might actually make everyone an entrepreneur. Not because of the tools, not because of side hustles, because of something happening right now that most people cannot see. The biggest shift in who gets to build wealth since the internet went mainstream. And it has nothing to do with which AI you use. If you have been watching tutorials, trying to figure out which tool to learn, and still feeling like you are falling behind, stay. Because the answer is not another tool. The answer is something you already have. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you why wealth has always been about one thing: leverage. Why AI just made leverage free for the first time in human history, and why a Stanford study found that lower skilled workers actually outperform higher skilled workers when they use AI. That finding changes everything about who gets rich in the next decade. This is not for developers. This is not for tech people. This is for anyone who has ever solved a problem that other people still struggle with. That knowledge, that is your unfair advantage. And you are about to understand why. Every single person searching how to get rich with AI is asking the wrong question. They are learning prompts, starting freelance gigs, offering AI services on Fiverr, and they are doing the modern equivalent of hand-copying manuscripts after the printing press was invented. Think about that for a second. When Gutenberg built the printing press in the 1440s, the scribes who copied books faster did not get rich. The people who had something worth printing got rich. When the internet arrived, the people who learned HTML did not build empires. The people who had something worth distributing built empires. Amazon was not built by a web developer. It was built by someone who understood that people wanted to buy books without driving to a store. And here is the part nobody talks about. The scribes were not stupid. They saw the printing press. They understood what it could do. But they kept copying because it was what they knew. They asked, "How do I use this new machine?" The publishers asked a different question. What do I know that the world needs? AI follows the exact same pattern. The people learning prompts and offering AI freelancing are the modern scribes. Faster, sure, but asking the wrong question. The people who will build wealth are asking, what problem do I understand so deeply that I could build something the world actually needs? Naval Ravikant understood this 7 years ago. He said, "You will not get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom." A side hustle with AI is still renting out your time. Faster, sure, but still linear. Still capped by hours in the day, still a hamster wheel, just one with LEDs on it. So what creates wealth? Naval answered that too. Leverage. He identified 4 types. Labor, hiring people to do work for you. That is the oldest form of leverage. It requires permission, management, payroll. Capital, investing money to make money. That requires banks, investors, permission. These 2 are old leverage. Gated, expensive. Reserved for people who already had money or connections. Then came the new leverage, code. Software that runs while you sleep, scales to millions, costs almost nothing to duplicate. And media, content, audience, brand that reaches people without your physical presence. These 2 are permissionless. Nobody has to approve your app. Nobody has to greenlight your video. You just build. But there was a catch. Code required years of programming skill. Media required production teams, equipment, distribution networks. Permissionless in theory, gated by skill in practice. AI just removed the gate. A $20 monthly subscription now gives you what used to require a development team and a production crew. Naval said it in a recent podcast. We have just handed a magic wand to every human being on the planet. For decades, programmers were the only wizards. They memorized the arcane commands that made computers obey. Now you describe what you want in plain English and the computer builds it. That is not an incremental improvement. That is a civilizational shift in who gets to build. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, said he is 70 to 80% confident that the first billion-dollar company run by a single person will exist by the end of this year. Sam Altman has a group chat of tech CEOs betting on when it happens, not if, when. That is how fast this is moving. But does it actually work? Does AI actually level the playing field? Or is that just a nice idea? Stanford and MIT tested this, and the results shocked even the researchers. They studied over 5,000 customer support workers at a Fortune 500 company. Not in a lab, in the real world, over a full year. The average productivity boost from AI? 14%. Solid, useful. But the real finding was buried deeper. Lower skilled workers did not just improve, they improved by 35%. Workers with 2 months of experience using AI performed as well as workers with 6 months of experience working without it. 2 months with AI equals 6 months without. The researchers wrote something I want you to hear carefully. For most of the past 30 years, computers and digital technologies have helped higher skilled workers more than less skilled workers. It is fascinating to see that this technology goes the other way around. Think about what that means. For 30 years, every technology we built widened the gap. Computers helped the educated more. The internet helped the connected more. Smartphones helped the affluent more. Every wave of technology made it better to already be at the top. AI reversed it. This is not a small finding. This is the first time in 3 decades that a technology disproportionately helps the people who had less to begin with. The playing field is not just leveling, it is tilting the other way. Gartner saw this happening at scale. Their data shows that citizen developers, people building technology who are not professional programmers, now outnumber professional software engineers 4 to 1. 80% of the people driving business automation do not sit in IT departments. They sit in finance, operations, HR, marketing. The people who know the problems are becoming the people who solve the problems. The Christensen Institute called it the most entrepreneurial generation we have ever seen. And they put the shift perfectly. The barrier moved from "I cannot even begin" to "Is this idea worth the risk?" One question is about capability. The other is about judgment and judgment. Knowing which problems are worth solving is something you already have. We have covered the pattern, 3 revolutions, same playbook, and the proof that AI inverts the skills gap for the first time in 30 years. But none of that matters if you fall into the trap that is waiting on the other side. And almost everyone does. The same technology that levels the playing field creates a new trap, and it looks exactly like progress. Here it is. Most people discover AI and immediately start doing the same work faster. Freelancing with AI, answering emails with AI, taking on more clients with AI. They took a printing press and used it to hand copy manuscripts faster. More output, same model, still renting their time. I did this for 3 months. Used AI to take on double the freelance projects. More revenue, more hours, more exhaustion. The wake-up call came when I realized my hourly rate had not actually changed. I was just working more hours. 12-hour days instead of 8. Revenue up 40%, freedom at 0. I had the most powerful leverage tool in human history, and I was using it like a bicycle, pedaling harder instead of building an engine. The difference between AI income and AI wealth is one word: ownership. Income means you work and get paid. Wealth means you build something and it earns while you sleep. Here is what that looks like in practice. A freelance graphic designer using AI makes $300 per logo instead of $150. Faster work, more clients, more money. But she is still trading hours. Now imagine she uses that same AI to build a logo generation tool, a product that creates logos automatically for $10 each. She builds it once. It sells while she sleeps. 5 customers a day and she earns more sleeping than she did working 60 hours a week. Same AI, same person. Different question. How do I own this instead of do this? And this is where Naval's most misunderstood idea becomes the most important. Specific knowledge. Specific knowledge is knowledge you cannot be trained for. If society can train you, it can train someone else and replace you. Specific knowledge is not degrees or certifications. It is the intersection of what you have lived, what you are obsessed with, and problems you have personally solved. A nurse who has watched healthcare administration waste 40% of everyone's time, she knows exactly which workflows need automating. A real estate agent who has lost deals because follow-ups were too slow, he knows the exact pain point worth solving. A teacher who has watched the same students hit the same wall in the same subject for a decade, she knows the gap that no curriculum has filled. A restaurant owner who has seen scheduling chaos destroy margins every single Friday night. He knows what system is missing. That knowledge, the problems you understand from the inside, is what AI cannot generate. ChatGPT does not know that Friday night scheduling destroys restaurant margins. Claude does not know that real estate follow-ups at hour 48 lose 30% of deals. No AI has lived your career. No AI has felt your frustration. That is your moat. AI is the leverage. Your specific knowledge is the fuel. Without it, AI is a toy. With it, AI is a wealth engine. I put together a free cheat sheet, 50 AI business ideas mapped to specific knowledge types. Whatever your background, there is a path. Grab it free, link is in the description. You have the knowledge, the leverage is free. What does the math actually look like? The numbers have become almost absurd. Solo-founded startups surged from 23.7% in 2019 to 36.3% last year. 44% of profitable software businesses are now run by a single person. Solo-led exits, when a company gets acquired or goes public, account for 52.3% of all successful startup exits, more than half. AI-powered solo businesses operate at 60 to 80% margins. Traditional businesses, 10 to 20. Every dollar invested in AI solutions returns $3.50 on average. There are 41.8 million solopreneurs in the United States alone, contributing $1.3 trillion to the economy. LinkedIn reported a 69% increase in people adding founder to their profiles last year. That is not a trend. That is a migration. Gartner predicts 80% of technology products and services will be built by people who are not technology professionals. Read that again. Not technology professionals. People with domain expertise, specific knowledge, and $20 a month of AI leverage. When leverage becomes free and intelligence becomes available, one person is enough. Not one person working harder. One person thinking clearly about a problem they already understand. If this is shifting how you think about AI and wealth, subscribe. I go deep on this every single week. Tonight, before you close your laptop, open a notes app and write down the answer to one question. What problem have I solved in my life or career that other people still struggle with? Write 3 answers. Do not filter. Do not judge them. Just write. Tomorrow, pick the one that excites you and search. Does a good solution for this problem exist? If it does not, or if the existing solutions are mediocre, you are sitting on specific knowledge that AI can turn into an asset. The printing press, the internet, AI, 3 revolutions, same pattern. Wealth never went to the people who mastered the tool. It went to the people who had something worth building. You already have it. You are not someone who uses AI. You are someone who owns AI-powered assets. That is the difference between income and wealth. And it starts with what you already know. Imagine 6 months from now, something you built, earning revenue while you sleep. Not because you learned to code, not because you mastered prompts, because you finally applied leverage to what you have known all along. Join Zero to AI Founder, our free community where everyone is building. Link in the description. I will see you in the next one.